Hi guys, it's Belle here and I'm coming on with a bit of a craft with me. This is not my original idea. I'm sure these have been shown everywhere, but I just wanted to come on and you can watch me create some of mine. I'm working on a lot of nature journals at the moment, so I just wanted to show you how I make some collaged window envelope pockets, I suppose, and using dried flowers. But don't worry if you haven't got dried flowers, there are other alternatives. So I've just got these. I've got a larger one, and it doesn't even matter that it's ripped. I've got a larger one here, and I've got this thinner one. Now this larger one is going to become a large pocket. This one's going to be a side pocket, maybe a flip out. We're going to see. So let's get started. First things first, you take your window envelope. Normally I would stick this down the flap. You can see this one is in awful condition, but I've picked it specifically to show you that even if something is in awful condition, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters if it's torn completely in like shreds, but we're going to use this one. So let's glue this down. So this is going to be a normal page pocket, top loading pocket. So I'm just gluing this down so that it can glue onto here, like so. Let's get my bone folder if I can find it. Oh, I can't find it. Okay. Hold on a minute, guys. Sorry about that. I was using it for another project and it had ended up on the other side of the room. Just want to press these down to get it really glued down as best as possible. But again, I'll be chopping half of this off. So, because this is going to be, let's make sure this one's glued down too whilst we're at it, because, you know, might as well cut them both at the same time. We might get both done, we might not. Hoping we'll get both done. So, because this is going to go as a top loading pocket, I am going to measure it. Most of my pockets I like to be about 5 inches because I know they're going to go in. This is 5.5. I might cut this one too, only because of where the window is on it, and then I can trim either side. So what I mean is, if I cut at 5 inches, let me show you, that's 5 inches there. We'd be cutting very close to the window. But as it is, I'm still going to trim it off. I'm going to make it 5 and about a quarter-ish to make these sides kind of equal. And then I'm going to cut across the top because I don't want my envelope that big. I'm going to put that at 5 3/4. Too much maths today, guys. Too much maths. And I'll show you how that will look in a signature. And then you've got this bit left that can also be made into a pocket. So let's put that to one side. Now this one, normally it's 8.5 on a page, 8.5 inches. So let's have a look. We need to take off, if I do it this way, because then the window's at the top. Where's my pencil? Because I'm going to make it 8.5 because that's roughly what my pages normally are in my journals. And I'm going to do it like that and just trim that bit off. I'm going to cut it open, just taking a smidge off the edge like so, and I'm just going to open this side smallest smidge. I just want it open because we need them open so that we can work in them. Okay, so we're now left with an envelope like this and an envelope like this. And if I can find a journal, hold on, this is a journal I'm working in at the moment. It's not finished, but let's find a page. Oh, there's one. This is literally what we're going to be making with this one. So you can see they're about the same size. This one's a bit taller, but it's going to end up looking something like that. And then this one, I think I have one in here as well somewhere, but if not, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna find a page. You might even have seen this journal by the time this goes up. Let's just put it there. So it would go on to the end of a page like that, although this one's a bit smaller. So, but that doesn't matter, and I'll explain why in a minute. So yeah, so these are now open completely. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start collaging some papers onto them. So I've just got a load of scraps here. They're nature-based because these are the kind of journals I'm working in. Some scrapbooks, some digital scraps, some vintage flower page, some Edith Holden. And we are going to start getting some scraps on here. This will work perfectly kind of here, so I'm going to just tear it a little bit, and then it's up to you if you want to ink or not. That is completely up to you. And normally I would like it going over the edge a little bit actually, so it might work better down here with something underneath. And the reason I like it going over this edge here is that it strengthens it, and you're going to be putting things in and out, so that works best. Let's get a bug on it, but let's see, that'll cover the bug up. Okay, so we've got some Edith Holden here, so let's use... That would look quite nice there, wouldn't it? Okay, let's just trim that. That's going to go over the edge a little bit. And this can go down this side with that bit over the edge, like so. And yeah, we're just collaging onto them, guys. It's you know, it's just simple, just collage. So I'm looking roughly where the window is, which is about there. So now I'm going to just tear a little bit there. Let's see how far the window goes down to. It's about here. Best to use a pencil, but you know, I don't always have one handy, so that goes to about there. So I'm just going to tear that. That's really nice. And again, yeah, you can ink. I'm going to ink a little bit because I like the definition of the inking. I'm just using walnut stain. Use what you have, use what you like to do. You don't have to use these in florals. Obviously, I'm putting dried flowers in, so florals make sense for me. But if you're doing a Gothic journal, you could use darker papers and then put roses in, you know, dried roses, which I think I have done before. So that's going to go on there. So I'm going to glue that now, guys, and then work from there, basically. So let's glue this down. But yeah, I'm working on several herbal journals coming up, and I've been making a few of these, and I thought, you know what, let's just turn the camera on and make them on camera, because whilst this is not a new idea and this has probably been shown on many people's channels, it still doesn't hurt. There may be people here who haven't seen it anywhere else, or you know, this is just my take on it, and sometimes it's nice watching someone else do something that you've seen other people do. So let's line that up at the top. I don't need the top secured, so let's do that. Let's turn it over now and press it down. Again, bone folder is really good for this. And then I'm just folding it onto there. And now that makes that sturdier when you're pulling ephemera in and out, because this is going to be a side pocket. It just makes it that bit sturdier. And I don't need to make the top and the bottom sturdier, because when you then come to, it's a good idea to glue these down too, especially if you're putting ephemera in and out, because these can get caught. When you're coming to fitting it into a journal, you might need to trim it. So there's no point kind of stitching around the bottom and all that kind of thing yet. You can do that once you know what journal it's going in. So yeah, but I am going to just trim this off because it's hanging over the edge. And I'm mainly just doing that, one, because it's got glue on it, so it's going to get stuck places. And two, it lets me know roughly where the edge is, the bottom. So we had this one that we were actually going to go there, but it's not going to go there now because we've got that. Although that might be quite nice, although that will go up there. Okay, so I've got some of this vintage French, I don't know, book. I don't know what it is. And I'm thinking that might go really nice up there. And again, I'm going to trim it after I've stuck it down, because then I can place it where I want it to go. I mainly just want the writing. So let's do that. I hope this is on camera. Let's do that. I don't mind if it's a little bit over the window. That to me just gives character. You might like it being exact, but again, that's just really hard to do, so I prefer to not worry too much about that. Yeah, good, pressing down. And then we've got this strip here, so I'm going to use a few different bits on there because why not. So I've got this, it's like it's almost like tissue paper, and it's purplish, so it'll pick up the purple in this really well. And then we've got a bit here to do. I don't want to use Edith Holden because we've already got Edith Holden on there. Well, we've got this bit of digital that might be quite nice, right? So there's a white edge there, and I don't like white edges. The bit over there doesn't matter so much because it will be cut off. But yeah, let's do this. And again, I'm going to ink it. I didn't ink that page, did I? I mean, it has got quite well defined colouring on it. I feel like that should be about there. That's a bit high on there. So let's do it at the line. Oh, trust me to tear the way that gives you the white page. Again, I could have just brought it down really, couldn't I? Oh yeah, I like that on there. I like that. And so I'm only really going to glue half of it because that's the only bit I really need. And we're just going to collage this. So yeah, get your scraps out. What I would say is I like scraps that are all relatively the same thickness and tend to be thinner in thickness. I mean, I have used scrapbook card. You can certainly do that. I have done that. But it just means sometimes it's harder because things are different levels and different thicknesses, and it's all just, yeah, it's easier to use thinner pieces. That goes on there really lovely now. I'm going to just rip a bit off the edge of that, and I am going to try and ink this up, which the easiest way to ink thin pieces like this up is if you get a thicker piece of paper and then you kind of ink both like that. Again, that's not my tip. Where did I see that? I might have seen Corey Darman say that tip actually. I know I saw someone say that tip, and it does work really, really well. So it's so hard as crafters to come up with original ideas. There are some crafters out there who are just extraordinary at coming up with like their own interpretations on things and new things and all of that. Otherwise it's quite difficult. Okay, so I'm going to leave that and let the glue dry, and we're going to go on to the bigger one because we're going to kind of do everything in order. And there we go, lost the bigger envelope. So I'm not collaging the back because it's going to be stuck down, plus I'm thinking I might do something a bit different with that. So let's get collaging this, and again we need to make sure that they stay open as we're collaging. So please do think of that. So this is going to go really well here actually. Let's just go along this edge a little bit. Again, this is from a vintage book. Yeah, that's going to go there really nicely actually. Just trim this off a little bit. And again, ink this. If you don't know what journal it's going into, it's probably best not to ink to begin with. But I know I'm probably going to be inking. So I'm going to have that there. So now I want something here. And again, I might have some of this book page because I think that looks quite nice. So I'm going to rip across the bottom here. This is so beautifully aged, this one. And I'm going to rip down the side. Just taking that blank bit off. Like so. Or do I want that book page? Because I'm just looking now. I've got some of this handmade paper. And it's got some flowers in. And it might be quite nice to have some of that on there, actually. Put that over the top of it. Quite nice. It's a bit of a nightmare though to rip these, but it's got such beautiful texture to it. I feel like I want the flower, so that's going there. Or do I want this bit with the bits in it? Is that going to come off? Or should I just go with the French? Let's just go with the French. Rip down. Again, I'm just kind of looking where the window is. Rip across. It doesn't matter if I've messed it up because I can just put the other bit of French book page underneath. And then that's going to go across like that. See? Sorted. That's a bigger piece actually, so I could just use a little piece of this underneath. Now this definitely does not need inking because it's so old. Let's glue that down. So yeah, I love making these. I mean, there's just something about collaging. One, you're using up scraps, although often you're also creating scraps as you're collaging. But you're using up scraps, and I really love the collaged look, that scrappy kind of look. And also, it's just quite relaxing to do. And then you're using up envelopes that have come through the post. I mean, my partner's so sweet. He really is. As soon as any post comes in, the first thing he does is get all the window envelopes and tries to open them carefully. This one obviously wasn't opened by him. And he tries to open them super carefully for me. And then I find a little pile of them put aside for me. But what it does mean is I have quite a lot of them. And so it's good to just do some mass making and some of these collaged pockets and things. And you don't have to put dried flowers in it. I'll talk more about that in a minute, but you don't have to put some dried flowers. You can put other things in it. I'm still really loving like this, and I'm thinking maybe across the top I do have to fold it over. So let's think. It's just so pretty. I feel like it needs to be ripped here. So if I'm putting that like that, and then I need to have it like here, and I've still got some to hang over the top. So good. So pretty. And let's just ink up these handmade edges. Take inking so beautifully because of all the fibres on there. So that's going to go there. It doesn't matter if it's hanging off there because I'll trim it. But yeah. So you get to use up your window envelopes, you get to use up your scraps, and you get something that looks a bit fun and unique, and every one of them is going to be slightly different because you're obviously using slightly different papers and things. So you see where we had that rip there now? We're going to stick this over the top, and once again it helps strengthen it, and especially if it's had rips in it like this one has. So let's really smush that down because it's handmade paper. Really smush it down. Trim the edges. And there. Okay. And again, we don't need to do the back because it's going to be in a journal. I've got some of this actual brown paper. This is some more handmade, some interesting paper I had, and I thought that might work quite nice. But I also have some of this, and I quite like how that adds some more colour. So I'm just going to trim that and put that on there. This is actually some thin scrapbook paper. So as I said, you can use scrapbook paper, but I prefer using the thinner scrapbook paper rather than scrapbook card, because it just makes life easier. That's too far down. I feel like I want it like that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's put this on here, and then we will have collaged the fronts and backs. Well, the fronts, because we don't need to collage the backs. Oh, let's move that up so I can put that over the edge too. Let's really make sure that's stuck. Look at my window envelopes. Where are my wet wipes? I'm probably going to need those in a minute. And trim this off again. Right, so these are the basic envelopes. Oh, I had that. Wouldn't that have been nice to put on one? That's okay. Oh, and you can use things like tea bags, or if you've got bits of sewing pattern paper. I always like adding stuff like that because I just feel like it adds like another element, like another, if you've got sewing pattern paper like this, it just adds another little something. So I'm just going to add that on there because I like that. If you've watched, I think I've only done one video where I've done a collage masterboard, and that was for my autumn altered book. Then you will know I like to add like tea bags and things like this to my collages, because like I said, look, it just gives a little extra something, a little extra colouring and image and stuff on there. So I really love how that looks. So I'm going to move these now, because now, guys, we're going to get on with putting the dried flowers in. I'm just, yeah, I might have to just clean the outside of the window envelope and let's put it on a clean page. Right, that needs to dry now. Need to get like some tissue or something on there, because that one was a bit smushy. Had some smush on it. Smush. Okay, hold on, I just need to get a tissue. Okay, so that's clean now. So now we have our 2 envelopes. Now, this is where we get dried flowers. So I've got my collection. Now, you don't have to use dried flowers. I'm going to, but you could, if you have die cuts, put a die cut under there instead. So let me open this up. You could put a die cut in there. It would look just as pretty. I haven't got any in lots of like nature colours, but again, let me just show you. So yeah, you could put a die cut in there. What you could do if you're into fussy cutting, you could fussy cut some beautiful images. I mean, I would say make sure they're fussy cut like with no white showing. And then, yeah, you could do some beautiful images, but I'm going to use dried flowers. I've got a whole little pack of dried flowers. I'm going to use those. Now, if you've got another window envelope, obviously they've got these films that's over the window. You could just use the film from one of those, or you could use acetate, or you could use tracing paper. Basically, we're going to back it with something. You'll see in a minute. Or these are even laminating sheets. Even these would work to back the flower onto. Okay, it's nice, it's thick. My issue with baking laminating sheets is they pick up everything. However, as you would have probably seen or will be seeing, I'm picked up a little photo album that I'm turning into a journal. These were the bits inside for the pictures, and these have been working brilliantly. They just come apart. It means I get to use these up. And they work really well. They're nice and clear. So I'm going to take that one, and then I'm going to take the one on the other side to put the flowers onto, and you'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. So firstly, I'm going to take my sheet. This needs a bit of a clean too. I need something to put the cleaning on. Let's just use this then. There we go. And just use a little bit of tissue to clean it. Okay. It's going to go behind. It's fine. So now I'm going to cut it roughly to the size that it needs to be for the inside of here. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to have a look. This side's going to be better. It needs to be able to go all the way around the window the way the other one does, the other film. I'm just going to trim it like so. And then let's do that for this one too, so that you can see. Okay, so this one, it's going to trim it here. And I'm also going to trim that white bit off because I don't need that white bit. Let's have a look. That's quite big, so I can trim from here as well. So we're just kind of cutting it down to size of the film on the inside. Like so. It's really hard to show you, but yeah, you can see that it fits around. Same with that one. Now we're going to pick the dried flowers that we want to use. So this is where direction comes into it. What is that? Okay, this is where direction comes into it. So this is an up one. So I'm looking for longer flowers, Gosh, I really need to sort out my dried flowers actually, guys. I'm looking for longer flowers, like a leaf. A leaf would be beautiful, but you're going to miss half the leaf if I put it in there. Although a leaf would be really, really beautiful, wouldn't it? Let's get this in place. This is where things get fiddly. That's just so pretty that I might actually use that. Okay. I'm going to have that in place. And then maybe I'm going to put a little flower at the bottom of it. Maybe pick up some of the purple, like so. But I don't know. Do you know what? I think I just like the leaf. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is where it gets a bit fiddly. So I'm going to position the leaf where I know that I'll be able to see it, because obviously I can see the window, I can see where any of the paper that overhangs is. And then I'm going to just add a smallest bit of glue onto the back of the flower. Just a smidge, because I don't obviously want it showing. And then I'm going to glue on the outside of here. I'm gluing on the film. I'm not getting too close to the window, because when the glue spreads, you don't want it spreading and showing through the window. I mean, sometimes it does. It just happens, you know, sometimes. And then I'm going to get my film. Now, because of static, as you just saw, as soon as the leaf goes near it, static means that the leaf becomes attached to the film. Now, that's gone too far over that side, but that's okay because I can trim this. I just want to really press that glue down. The leaf should now be stuck. I'm going to leave that whilst we work on the next one. So obviously this is this way. So when we're working, I'm thinking about how it will look going lengthways. And that's where I like to use lots of my little flowers like these ones, because I can just kind of pop them on like so. Let's have a little look. Got some of these. You could do a leaf sideways, like one of these things would look quite nice, kind of probably going upwards, but I'm not going to do that. Got a little blue one there. Probably want that underneath these, like so. You can use tweezers, obviously, a good idea. I've got larger flowers here. Try and look for bigger ones in a slightly different colour. Got more purples there. Got all these leaves as well. Look at those. They'll be good for autumn though, so I don't really want to use those. Okay, let's get one of the big yellow ones then. Not that one. Where did the other one go to? Where did the other one go to? Okay, so now I can't find it. Here they are. Right, really need to sort through my flowers. Okay, let's use a bigger yellow one, just because this is quite a big window. Is this two here? Yeah, there is. Very carefully pull that apart. There. Now I am going to close this up, hold it in place just so that I can have a really good look at where these are going. Want it moved down a little bit, I think, just a smidge, and then have a few more things put on. Not another yellow. I've got plenty of yellow. This is the hardest bit, guys, when you're sitting there thinking, well, where do I want things? Do I want that? If I had that underneath, would that look nice? Yeah. Okay, so I want that underneath. So I've got to hold this, turn it over carefully, do that, and then put this nice leaf underneath, like so. Right, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing, guys. We're just going to add a bit of glue to each of the backs of these. The bigger the flower, obviously, the more glue you can add. Just a little bit, make sure there's nothing in the way. And then around the outside of the film so that it can't seep. Might be a good idea sometimes to just go around it with your finger so that it's already smushed out. Smushed, smush, mush, mush, mush. And where did it go? Here we go. And again, because of static, you saw all those flowers grabbed on as soon as it kind of touched them. Let's turn it over. And there we have that one, guys. Now, here's the thing. You have a choice. You can, if you wanted to, hold on, I need to trim this, guys, so that my envelope can actually fold. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah, now it folds again. So you have a choice. You can, if you want to, put some paper behind these, because obviously it's the blue of the envelope. I quite like leaving the blue of the envelope. Plus, when you put anything in the pocket, you're going to see that anyway. But I quite like leaving the blue of the envelope because it reminds you it was an envelope. Also, you can leave it as is. I am now going to go and I'm going to stitch around this bit because 1, it makes it even more secure. 2, I like the look of it. But as you can see, you can literally leave it like that where it's glued and it's not an issue. But I'm going to go and stitch around those guys. So there we go, guys. I've stitched around. Again, you don't have to. You saw, you can just leave it as is. I do it because I like the way it looks. And 2, I know it makes sure that that film, it's a little black bit under the film, I think it's just a bit of the leaf, is definitely attached and is not going to come off for some reason. Okay, now again, if you're putting things in and out of pockets, just check. So the film here is quite it sticks up, so if I'm putting a journaling card in and out, there is a chance that that would become stuck on that film or get caught in it. So it's going to be inside a pocket. So I'm just going to use some washi tape to really make sure that that is really well secured down on the inside so that anything I'm putting in and out is not going to get caught on it and pulled on it on the way in and out. So yeah, I don't think there's any need with this one. This one's quite, yeah, that one's good. All right, so we've got that. Got our dried flowers, got our 2 pockets. Now I'm just going to trim all the paper off because there's some edge pieces that just need a smidge of a trim. Trim, trim, trim. I'm not doing the top, I'm just doing the bottom bit, the side bits. Sorry about that noise, guys. It's just where I had to go through a few different bits. Let's have a look on here. Got to do it really carefully on here so that I don't actually cut the envelope, but I might end up doing so. So let's do the top bit first. Bottom bit seems fine. So it's just this bit on here. Probably much easier to do it with scissors. But there we go. Right, now, as I said, I am not stitching around the whole thing, which would look very nice. I would only do that once I know what journal it's going into. So the best thing to do now is, well, you can leave it as is, not this one. This one is going to go in and be a pocket. So this is all right. I'm just inking around the edges. So realistically, I could stitch around this one, but I'm not going to. Again, I'm leaving the blue of the envelope, and I'm just taking my glue and I'm going to glue the edges here. Just a little bit thinner glue along the edge. And this would make a nice pocket in a journal. Now you could stick it on. Again, let me grab this journal I'm working in. Let's find a page. So you could stick it on and just have it as a pocket like that, which looks very nice. Or you could have it as a 3-corner pocket, just glue here and here, and then it becomes a larger tuck spot, as well as a tuck spot in there. So yeah, so it's up to you how you want to do that. This one obviously would go on like this on a pocket, and then it would, you could make it a double tuck by doing both the inside of the envelope and the underneath if you just glue these 3 sides and not the whole thing. But I was thinking of doing something a bit different with this one. I am just going to ink here because that blue is showing underneath, and again, I don't mind people knowing that it is an envelope. That's the whole point of using these things, but I do mind it looking very blue when the rest of it isn't. So I'm going to glue this. And it doesn't matter if I glue it now and it's slightly too big to go in my journal, I just trim it slightly and re-glue. There's really not a problem. So yeah, so that's going like so. And now what I think I want to do, I can grab some paper. What did I do with that paper, guys? Right, so I've got some tea-dyed paper here. And what I think I want to do is I think I want to make kind of like a flip out with this. So let's have a look. So I'm going to do it like this. Just measure it. Let's straighten it up on here so it is being measured. And then I'm going to tear that bit off. Again, it can be trimmed, it's not a problem. And then I'm going to glue it onto here. I'm going to glue it onto there, but I want a little bit of like a lip here, so that, a bit more I think, that can be stuck in the journal. So let's get, gosh, where's everything going to, guys? Hold on, here it is. So I'm going to ink around this first. So we do this. So as I said, if you haven't got dried flowers, firstly, you can buy really cheap flowers from, well, we can in this country, from like supermarkets and things that they're selling off because they're out of date and they're looking a bit raggedy. And they are great for just buying for £1 or 50p or whatever, and then bringing home and drying. They're brilliant for that. Or next time you have a birthday or something where someone buys you flowers, dry some of those. One, great for keeping as a memory. I'm sure I'm not teaching anything new here, but you know, great for keeping as a memory. And 2, great for using in your crafting. Or you can use die cuts if you haven't got access to any dried flowers, and like, yes, you can go buy them from the supermarket, but realistically, like, are they going to be dried in time for you to want to make something, you know? Yeah, you can use die cuts, and if you don't have die cuts, you can use, as I said, you know, fussy cutting, or you know, if you've got pieces, ephemera packs like the Tim Holtz ones, he often has flowers in his Tim Holtz ephemera packs, and you could use one of those flowers instead. So there are ways around it. Don't always rush out and buy things just because that's what you've seen. I mean, we all do it, let's be honest. We often see something and go, oh my gosh, I really wish I just had that exact thing because I like that exact look. But also use what you've got. I mean, this whole project is about using scraps and envelopes you get in the post. So it kind of makes sense to me to then use what you've got rather than buying new bits for it. But that is up to you guys. So I'm just inking the edge of this. Need that a bit more there. Inking the edge. Again, just folding that over. So I hope you saw what I did then. I stuck it on the back and then I've folded it over, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I also want to ink the fold on the other side as well because that will be visible as such. Okay. And again, you can actually decorate these envelopes. I often do, but I'm not going to decorate them here because, one, they're pretty as is, so there's no need to decorate them. So let's stick it here again on this page. So what you would do is, I mean, this page is slightly too small, but you would glue this bit of the flap down or stitch it down. Glue it or stitch it as such. Now, if you made a bigger flap, you could make this into a tuck as well, where you just stuck the 3 sides down and then you had a tuck here. But you would stick that down. You would, then this would fold out. So you would have your pocket here, and then try and do this because obviously I haven't stuck it down. And then this would open up and give you extra writing space in your journal. So you have your pocket and your extra writing space, like so. And there's easy ways to keep that. You can just keep it like that. You can add a nice fancy paper clip, like a little one up there, Tim Holtz paper clip, if you've got one of those tiny ones. And this, like I said, will be a pocket where you can have it as just your general pocket here, or glue it on these 2 sides and have it as a pocket here as well as there. Again, you could add paper on the back just like this, so that this flips open and is a pocket to write on too. I just thought we'd do something different rather than 2 of the exact similar kind of pockets, even though they're different styles. So anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that. I just thought I'd make some of these. I've got to make a few more because I've got quite a few journals to fill, and I want to put some of these in the journals. Use up your scraps, get creative, make them different kind of pockets. Again, don't need dried flowers, but I really hope you enjoyed watching that, guys. And I will be back soon with another video. Until next time, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having lots of scrappy, crafty fun. Bye for now, guys.